Guys, today we're going to talk about exploring division problems through factors of 10. And the I can statement we're working on is I can divide decimals using models and the standard algorithm. And what we're going to be looking at today is really going to be kind of like a preview for developing the standard algorithm. So you're going to want to keep in mind what we do here and as we move through the next couple of quadrants, because it's really going to help you build that understanding of division with decimals. So let's first talk about division. And we talked about this when we talked about, or when we studied fractions, but we're going to review it. Every division problem can really be translated into a question. So if I had 16 divided by 8 equals 2, I might ask myself, how many 8s can fit into 16? And when I think about it that way, it makes more sense. How many groups of 8 can I make out of 16 of any number of items? So let's look at this visually. Here I've got 16 blue circles, and I want to fill them with these gray stony circles. And right here I've got 8 stone circles. I want to know how many times I can put those in. The answer is 1, 2 times. So 8 can fit into 16 2 times. Let's look at another one. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So when I'm looking at this problem, I might ask myself, how many 4s can fit into 12? And the answer is 3. So let's look. I have 12 blue circles, and I want to fill it with the gray stony ones in groups of 4. So here's 1, 2, 3 groups of 4, or 3 4s fit into the 12. Okay. I can even translate problems, and we've looked at these, involving fractions. So 5 divided by 1/2, I would ask myself, how many halves can fit into 5? And look, when I do that, when I divide by a larger number by a smaller number, we noticed in our last unit, it actually gives us a larger quotient. So because I'm actually not filling one of the blue circles with more than one of the stony circles. I'm actually only filling with half. So it takes 2 to fill one, 2 to fill the second, 2 to fill the third, 2 to fill the fourth, and 2 to fill the fifth. So that gives me 10, a total of 10 halves that I need to fit into the 5 circles. Okay. So let's take a minute, pause the video, and in the work section of your WSQ, answer 1, 2, and 3. Find the quotient for these 3 division problems, and then we're going to take a look at the quotients and how that relates to the problem. Okay, let's check your work. You might have noticed that in each problem, when you divided, you got 2. So let's look at this and make some observations. In the summary section of your WSQ, I want you to make a quick observation to yourself. What do you notice about the problems? So could I look at these problems and determine that they're all going to have the same quotient? So take a minute, look at the problems and make some observations. Okay, let's check out your observations. With these problems. Now I want you to look, and before you even get started, I want you to write in the work section, guess. And I want you to guess what you think the quotient for each of these problems is going to be. Then pause the video and work it out in the work section of your WSQ. And we'll see if your guess was correct. Okay, let's check your answers. You might have noticed that for each problem, your quotient was 60. So again, look back at the observation you wrote for the last set of problems and see, does that observation hold true for this set of problems? If so, put a star next to it. If not, make a new observation about these problems. Okay, Let's try another set. Before you go ahead and divide, I want you to write down guess and put a guess for what you think the quotient to all of these problems might be. And if they're different, that's okay. You can have 3 different quotients written down. Then press pause and work it out. And let's see if your guess is correct. Okay, let's check your work. Did you get 5 for all of them? Were you correct with your guess? Look back at the observations you wrote or adjusted in the last 2 sets of questions, and let's see how you did. If that observation still holds true for this set, I want you to put a check next to that observation or observations. So let's look at this problem. Now we're going to work with some decimals in our divisors. So what is the question that we might ask in this problem? You might ask, how many 500ths fit into 10? And that might be hard to think about, but let's refer back to money, okay? If I have $10, those 500ths would be nickels. So you're really asking yourself, how many nickels make up $10? And so when we think about it, there are 20 nickels that make up $1. Another 20 nickels would make up $2, which is a total of 40 nickels, and so on and so on and so on. So the question is, how many nickels do I need to make $10? Well, if it takes $20, 20 nickels to make $1, and it's going to take 200 nickels to make $10, because I'm taking my $1 and multiplying it by 10 to make $10. So I'd have to take my 20 nickels and multiply that by 10 to need 200 nickels to make up $10. So therefore, we could say $10 divided by divided by nickels, or 500ths, gives us 200, because 500ths fits into 10 200 times. So let's look at these problems and notice how the problems actually look different, but they're all going to result in the same quotient. I want you to take a minute and look back at your observations. Do they still hold true for this set of problems? And are there any other observations you can make or add to your list in the summary section of the WSQ? Pause the video and do that now. So we can use this concept of looking at very similar problems that look different but have many of the same digits in it, and they're all going to come up with the same quotient. So we're going to use this concept of different problems resulting in the same answer to help us as we divide numbers by a decimal. So we are done with this video now. Keep your observations from your summary in a nice place. Ask a question now. What does this video might make you think about or wonder about in regards to dividing with a decimal divisor? So go ahead, make sure you put a question in the WSQ. You can go back and watch any portion of this video as many times as you need to, or the whole thing, but don't forget, I want to see your questions when we come in tomorrow. I'm interested to know what you're wondering about. Have a good day.